I'll be joining you.
Coolio.
I was reading a little.
Whatever you feel like doing. Hi, friends. Welcome to Talk Mental. My name is host Eric. Happy Thanksgiving. Today, we're blowing wide open the lies of history. When we ask the question, do Indians receive too much credit for Thanksgiving? Let me go ahead and fill you in, folks, on the real story of Thanksgiving. So, the Pilgrims, who spent a bunch of time farming, growing a bunch of shit, and who had a bunch of turkeys all caged up to eat later on, and were doing sensible preparation things, sat down to have a mid-autumn meal. When what should happen, but a bunch of Indians come by. And they're like, hey, I hear you guys are having a potluck. And the Pilgrim's like, yeah, we are actually. Please come, put your dishes down there on the table and join us. But guess what? The Indians barely had anything to contribute. First of all, they didn't know how to farm. So they just had like some berries and shit they gathered. And they didn't even try to bring dishes to the potluck. They just happened to have some berries in their pocket. Also, they brought some maize, of course. But by that point, everyone was sick of maize. It was like a one-trick pony. It's like, here's some maize. Okay, Indians, we get it. You guys got corn. Congratulations. Berries and maize do not a Thanksgiving feast make. Who brought the turkey? The Pilgrims. Who brought the mashed potatoes? The Pilgrims. Who brought the stuffing? The Pilgrims. Who brought the cranberry sauce? The Pilgrims. What did the Indians even bring? Berries? I'm not even sure they were edible. And uncooked corn. That's not prepared for a potluck. And yet Indians somehow get 50% credit for this Thanksgiving thing. They deserve 5% credit, most. They didn't bring shit to the potluck. They did bring anal beads, yes, which they had received in trade from Manhattan. Not the best bargainers, those Native Americans. Oh, look. You want to sell this island to these white people? What are they offering us? Running bear? Oh, anal beads. Oh, anal beads, huh? Well, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Sam Smith, it's not edgy. I am blowing up the lies of history. The fact is, the Indians were there mooching off the Pilgrims, and they're getting credit for bringing half the food to the potluck. Bringing an old gourd for your table decoration, that is not a dish. And that's one of the things they brought. They brought a gourd. Put a gourd on the table. Hey, look, everybody, we got a gourd. Who's going to eat that, Indians? Nobody. Oh, it looks pretty on the table. We actually did work here to prepare this food for everybody. We farmed, we built houses, stuff like that. You guys just wander around the wilderness playing hunter and gatherer all day long and expect to mooch off our Thanksgiving feast. Well, fine. So that's how it goes. It's Thanksgiving. Be nice. Let them mooch. Fine. But don't have them go down in history as getting credit for bringing half of the dishes to the original Thanksgiving potluck. That's not okay.
I agree.
Not okay. So, and I'll tell you something, little known fact. You know what they tried to bring after they realized that they were kind of embarrassed they didn't really have enough food with them? They tried to bring fish. Nobody eats fish on Thanksgiving. You know what else they tried to do? They tried to play soccer after the meal. Soccer instead of football. Now, why are we giving the Native Americans 50% credit for this Thanksgiving feast when they were trying to be all Euro gay? Playing soccer. That's not a sport. That's what Europeans do because they don't know what else to do with their feet. Soccer. Might as well play tiddlywinks. Might as well just engage in a Thanksgiving ritual of synchronized swimming. It makes no sense to play soccer after Thanksgiving Day. First of all, why weren't the Indians resting on the couch like the Pilgrims? Well, they didn't get it. If the Pilgrims hadn't forced them to sit down and watch football at gunpoint, we wouldn't even have that tradition now. Nobody would watch football on TV. When Brother Ezekiel and Sister Ebony Delight forced the first Indian at gunpoint to sit down and watch football, That's what saved Thanksgiving. That's why we celebrate Columbus Day. It's because Columbus discovered the Pilgrims who invented America. So, anyway, I just wanted to set the record straight. I'm just tired of the history books lying to everybody. You want to know something else interesting about history? Do you know that Lewis and Clark were such good, proud Americans that when they got to Oregon and saw the rivers teeming with fish, they killed their horses and ate them. Because red-blooded Americans don't eat fish. I know,
Well,
right?
lobster.
They might eat lobster, yeah.
'Cause I think
Lobster's not a fish.
Sure, it's a bottom feeder.
It's
Crustacean.
it's the spider of the ocean.
True, I don't mind eating the foot. I've been eating it.
Or that was the cockroach of the ocean, right? And then crabs are spiders of the ocean.
Your meat is good.
Hambone makes a good point. The Pilgrims came to America to get away from Eurofags, and they stumbled upon a whole homegrown lot of them here in America called Native Americans. The only useful thing the Native Americans really contributed to the first Thanksgiving feast was gambling.
Yeah. Gambling.
Hi, Brittany. Long time no see. You know, interesting lessons from you mentioned Agave Weatherman. I'm planning on doing a studio version of that song. Maybe starting it today. Of course, I get sidetracked on other shit, playing around with stuff. But I realized today I never recorded a studio version of that. So that's my next musical project. And I'm going to have Rachel do the background vocals in the chorus. Good girl voice in there that was nice. And I just kind of just do it simple, straightforward, and try to get a super good mix without a lot of extra shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my plan on that one. Happy Thanksgiving to you all, everyone, including the Native Americans. Listen, I've gotten over it. I don't begrudge you guys mooching off the Pilgrims and taking credit for Thanksgiving like that. I try to let it slide. A very TWFP Thanksgiving. What are you thankful for? I am thankful for my wrench. I am thankful that you have a wrench too, Hambone. What I said at dinner is I was thankful for my parents and Rachel primarily, and then thirdly or fourthly, I was thankful for this opportunity to relive my adolescence, do a do-over. I should have also said I was thankful for Delilah, but she slipped my mind.
Oh, I didn't. She says, she responded actually. Says, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys. With a little smiley face. Hope you have lots of fun. Heart, double emoji.
Ooh, a double emoji. That means she's really serious.
Mm-hmm.
Other things I'm thankful for, I'm thankful for weed. I'm thankful for speed.
Same.
I'm thankful for cigarettes. I'm thankful for coffee. I'm thankful for Naruto. I'm thankful for Cobra Kai.
Me too.
The greatest show I've seen in a long ass fucking time.
So good.
So good. I'm done with it. Of course, we did all 2 seasons already, and we have to wait for season 3 to come out.
Yeah.
Are you redoing your adolescence as well, Brittany? Good. 21 days sober from alcohol? No, I didn't take only one try. I quit on multiple occasions before I was in my early 40s. The difference between the times before and the time that worked was I stopped trying to know things and judge things and decided to take a fully TE approach and go, I will defer ideationally to these people that perhaps under any other circumstance I would not defer to ideationally. Because I needed to be humbled. I needed to not listen to myself and to listen to other people. And when I finally did that, then I was serious. And so I was ready to quit. you have to sacrifice something to quit. You got to sacrifice some pride. You got to sacrifice some. You got to sacrifice potentialities. Like, you got to come to terms with the fact. I don't agree with AA when they say take it one day at a time. I think you have to come to terms with the fact that you're never going to drink it again. And you have to make a firm decision about that. And for me, what I had to do was build a bunch of TI walls, anticipating every possible way in which I could try to undermine that decision and precluding it in advance with argumentation that was already set up. That's how I had to do it. So I'm not one who says, I would take it one day at a time. I mean, if you're struggling to hold on, for sure, take it one day at a time. Like, take it 1 minute at a time, whatever you got to do to hold on. But what I'm saying is, when you're actually serious and you're ready to really quit, that requires not one day at a time. That requires a firm decision to be done with it for the rest of your life. And the appropriate mourning period that goes with it, when you realize it really is dead and gone. You're never going to get it again. Now, when you truly make a real decision like that, then you don't even bother missing it, because it's as though you had the Midas touch only for alcohol. Every alcohol you touch turned to gold, so you couldn't possibly drink it. It's like that. And you wouldn't miss it, because you'd just be like, well, it's impossible for me to access it. There's no point in thinking about it anymore. It's physically impossible for me to access it. I had to make it metaphysically impossible for me to access it. Yeah, but good job, Brittany, indeed. 21 days sober from alcohol. If you had a drinking problem, that's not easy to do. If you're accustomed to drinking on a regular basis, it's not easy to do. Winston Vaughn was right about eating sugar. When I quit drinking, I consumed so much sugar, I couldn't even believe it. I ate a whole cake to myself. I just freaking need more sugar. Alcohol is mostly sugars. So when your body gets really accustomed to that much sugar intake, and you suddenly remove it, you need to add more sugars. And totally, it's like, what my take on quitting alcohol is basically, I can do whatever else I want as long as I don't ever waver at all, even 1 centimeter on that. Not whatever else I want. Other drugs I won't do, but it's not because I'm worried about becoming addicted to them or because I'm worried about having a problem with them. There's no other drug that is a problem for me except for alcohol. Like, I mean, any given drug might briefly become a problem. Like, shit, I gotta stop this for a while because I'm getting too crazy with it. That might happen, but that part where I go, okay, I'm gonna stop it now because I'm getting too crazy with this. That is not a problem for me. I just stop it right then, and I'm no longer getting too crazy with it, right? But alcohol, I know I don't have that capacity. The alcohol has a unique ability to undermine my capacity to understand whether or not I should drink more. Keto's a terrible idea. Terrible idea. Everybody's diet, your diet, what's a healthy diet for you? It's very easy equation to answer that question for anybody. What sounds good to you right now? What sounds like it would be delicious? That's what you should eat. There you go. Diet problem solved. I've solved all your diet problems. It's just that easy. It's amazing how much effort and time and energy and thought people put into their diet when it's as simple as eat what sounds good. Eat what tastes good. Eat what you like to eat.
It's a lot of like you said, what your body is calling for.
All right. Listen to your body. Sometimes my body insists I have a salad. Okay, well then it's time for a salad. You know what you like. Eat that. When people try to tell you like, oh, you shouldn't eat this fat and it's this whatever. They're trying to impose their own despair upon you. It's like, I definitely need to eat that fat. I can barely put on any weight. I'm 6'4". I'm under 200 pounds, and it doesn't matter how much I eat. It doesn't seem to change weight at all. But it does matter how much I eat in terms of whether I'm functional. If I don't eat a lot of protein and fat, I'm starving to death all the time. So, it's like, then there are people out there trying to tell other people, here's a universal dietary advisement. That's always doing ontological violence against people, because that person's diet isn't appropriate for you.
Yeah.
Only you and your body know what you should eat, and it's what tastes good and what you like to eat. Now, granted, there are some people who have food addiction issues, and they maybe have to manage eating differently. But most people who aren't addicted to food need to do two things primarily: eat what they feel like and be okay with their body. Period. And also, they need to put their foot up people's asses who think diet is important. Well, my dad said something funny last night. I don't even remember what it was exactly, but note, okay? My dad and I do not talk about ideas anymore for a long time. He has no idea what I talk about on the channel. He doesn't watch the channel. He doesn't care about anything I'm doing. For him, the third slot is the only talking that's interesting is David talking and people listening to David. And the only ideas that are interesting are when David's expressing them and people are listening to David. It's just third slot of any. That's fine. I'm not busting my dad's chops. I'm just saying, yeah. So, like I said last night, he was watching MSNBC or Fox News or something like that, I think. And he stopped Rachel and I, and he's like, these pundits, they were talking about this aspect of the case law issue here, but clearly there is no universalist that could apply here, because the particularist is the only factor. It's always going to be a particularist because of these other factors here, and it seems very obvious to me that they're trying to claim that they have to apply universal, but only a particular would apply. It could have been something I would say, except. You remember what my dad was talking about last night?
Talking about what?
It was something he saw on the news, I think, about particularists and universalists.
Oh no.
Things. Remember I said, like, I love you, Dad.
Oh, with that book he was reading, the one that you like.
Oh right. Oh, that's what he was talking about.
That made sense though. I was like, I hear you with that.
He was talking about an L.E. Modisette book in which he was taking his libertarianism too far. L.E. Modisette was, and my dad was busting his chops because he was basically saying L.E. Modisette is being too NI here, and SI particulars are determinate. Now, the thing was, you might say, well, that's indicative of his NI polar or something, but I don't even see it as that. I just see it as he was probably right about it, and that he understands how to critique things. Like, it gave me such a joy because it made me realize I didn't get like this from nowhere. This is how my dad's always been around me. He's always, even when I was a little kid, he talked to me about this shit, And so it really made me feel so much appreciation for him. Like, thank God my dad had a doctorate in philosophy, was a political science professor, and a TE DOM and an SI tool function. Thank God for all that. And you might think, well, ESTJs are a pain in the ass. ESTJs make everything possible, frankly, because they do all the shit that needs to be done that people don't want to do. It's that demonstrative SE. Oh yeah, says Zaylen Black. It's on now, baby. It's on, dog, says Zaylen Black. What's on, Zaylen Black? Oh yeah.
I'm doing math and Mayan astrology. What else is new?
Ken Krishna Sarma Pagoo. I cannot believe I was appalled, disappointed, delighted, amused, loathful, despairing, and ecstatic at the wrongness of your goddamn comment. Yes, I was, Ken Krishna Sarma Pagoo. Yes, I was. You try to say that any use of any resource is exploitation. But if that's the case, then how do you distinguish actually exploitative capitalism from that which is mutual? I mean, remember, my labor is a resource. If I choose to sell my labor, how am I exploiting myself? But why, though, Ken Krishna Sarma Pagoo? Do you hear what I'm saying right now? You can't define every use of every resource as exploitation without losing any meaning of the word exploitation. Right? We're trying to distinguish between that which is actually exploitative and that which is not. For example, if I kidnap you and sell you out as a sex slave, that's exploiting you.
Yes.
If I woo you successfully over a series of dates to become my girlfriend, that's not exploiting you. For that, you have to understand how exploitation can be nuanced. No, Ken Krishna Sarma Pagoo, you need to understand that exploitation is not every use of every resource. Unless you want to use it in the sense of, in the sort of technical sense, I'm exploiting an available resource without any normative claim to it, then fine. Then it just means consuming or utilizing, converting, activating a resource into its wealth potentiality. If that's the case, Ken Krishna Sarma Pagoo, the whole point here you're trying to make is that capitalism is exploitative inherently. And the way you went about trying to make it, that point, is by defining all resource usage as exploitation. That's not.
No.
I mean, no, dude. You know better than that.
Because isn't the basis of capitalism that the people involved are agree? No.
Yes, the whole basis of capitalism is the idea that your utility can be turned into capital. That is to say, a fungible form. In other words, if I work for you all day, I don't have to accept fish as payment. I can get money, and then I can choose what to buy with that money. That means I can convert my resource into capital. Ken Krishna Sarma Pagoo, that's an equivocation fallacy, because you and I both knew that that's not how exploitation was being used, and that was the point that was in dispute. So choosing to use a different definition of exploitation, pretending it's the same definition as the one we were actually discussing, is in fact a textbook equivocation fallacy. It's like that fog bank must weigh a lot. It's a heavy fog. Well, heavy doesn't mean that in that context, even if it might in some other context. And if you were to make that statement, Ken Krishna Sarma Pagoo, you do it knowing full well what you were doing. She made a bullshit argument in her comment, so I'm scolding the fuck out of her right now.
Yeah, but isn't she not a girl? Isn't she a guy?
No, she's a girl. She's like, she's
21 male, I thought.
no. She's a chick from India. Just like Shreddy Chandra.
Oh,
There are Scissoring Indians.
Yeah, I know. I just thought that
Trickle down. Wealth from job creators doesn't trickle down. People get to work for other people. And when they do, guess what? They get paid because they're creating new wealth by their utility to the other party.
thank God, because I don't want to be no one's slave. I'm going to be working for them.
Right? They're going to trickle down. People make consensual agreements to earn money by working or by selling shit, being a businessman or whatever, or by schooling people on the internet. I make, a few pennies here and there off this, not much. It's not going to buy Rachel and I caviar for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. probably wouldn't even buy it for one breakfast, but maybe one breakfast. Like last month, I got $100 and some from YouTube. Granted, if I wanted to maximize income from this thing, I would make a point of offering as many, booking as many typing sessions as I could. Anyways, Eric, to explain exploitation for making the point of how capitalism is exploitative. Well, sure, but if you define exploitation as any use of resource, then it's not only capitalism that's exploitative, it's eating. So what's your point? It's not a critique of capitalism then, is it? Unless you want to critique eating as well and drinking water and standing in the sun. If you want to critique those things as exploitative, as just as exploitative as capitalism, then fine, we're in agreement. Those things are just as exploitative as capitalism according to your definition. So you're not doing anything. Well, but how do you define unfair use of workers' labor? Didn't the workers consensually agree to work for the party for whom they work? They're not slaves after all. If it's so unfair, why did they not take the job? It's obviously more fair than the alternative that's available to them, or they wouldn't take the job.
Would they have?
Or they'd quit the job.
Right.
If there were other alternatives they preferred, they'd take those other alternatives. Why are you trying to damage the best alternative for people who are in the leanest margins of society? Why are you trying to take away their best alternative, the ones that they actually chose, and replace it with your superior wisdom? I'm not talking. Who's that invisible hand? I didn't say anything about invisible hand. I don't use bullshit metaphors and magical talk when discussing economics. I actually talk about what it is, how it works, what shit means, why you're wrong. Yeah, labor is a resource. I have labor. You can hire me to type you for $100 if I feel like answering my email. Okay, I've got probably 5 or 6 of those people, 5 or 6 requests for typing services, typing sessions right now in my email. But guess what? I don't feel like it. But does that mean that when I decide I do want to type somebody for $100, that I'm exploiting that person? Or does it mean that they're exploiting me? Which one does it mean? I'm selling my resource, labor, for profit. How am I being a dick? Jester's Court, I'll tell you what's dickish is a not explicitly stated call to violence. And that's what Can Kristen Sarmabagu is doing. She's calling in favor of use of more government monopoly of force for arbitrary reasons that aren't justified by any sorts of rights calculus or any sort of principles calculus. They're only justified by utilitarian calculus that's poorly argued because she has no fucking idea what the impacts are that she'd actually attain with her advocacy. So that's why I'm being a dick, because she's advocating violence without even knowing it. Disguised as disguised slavery. Is it slavery or not? Can the people quit? Do the people choose to take that job? The fact that nothing is better available for them. Look, if I come and offer you $1 an hour, and in your own country, nothing else provides you $1 an hour, everything else provides you 25 cents an hour, then how am I being exploitative? I'm providing everybody in that country a better alternative than they can provide them for themselves. If I leave in order to not exploit them, they'll be worse off. I'm not forcing anybody to work for me. They can work or not. Does that mean that there aren't instances where capitalism exploits people or provides unsafe or unokay working conditions? Yes, there are instances when that occurs. That's not implicit to capitalism. Most of the time, that doesn't occur. Then it's not capitalism. If they're forced, it's not capitalism. Yes. That's slavery. That's the opposite of capitalism.
Right.
I mean, look, KKSP, I am not trying to win against you because I want to FE win or whatever. I'm telling you the fucking truth. You bought a line of bullshit, you swallowed it, you've internalized it, and it's seeping out of your pores right now. Capitalism is slavery for everyone who's middle class or lower. Except slavery actually means that you can't say no without being subject to violence. So, for example, I got back from work earlier today. I went to work with my debate clients. They pay me less than my typing clients. But I work there regularly, and I ignore requests for typing sessions. Why? Because it's my fucking labor to sell. It's not yours to worry about. You might say, my debate clients are exploiting me. My time's actually worth $100 an hour, not just $60 an hour. Who the fuck are you? It's my labor to sell. I can do what I want. You want to impose upon that somehow. Why? Then you shouldn't have bought a house, Jester's Court. You thought about that? Maybe that was a poor decision. Maybe having a mortgage was a poor decision. Maybe you should have rented. I mean, yeah, you have to have money. In other words, yes, you have to be at least sort of useful to someone, or else you're a burden. That's true. Is that a bad reality? I don't know. It just is. You have to have some usefulness to someone. You don't have to be useful to a business. Rachel's very useful to me as my girlfriend. So I don't want her to get a job. I don't want her to make money. It's fine if she did. I don't want her to not have money. I'm just saying I want her attention on me and us and our life here and not on something else.
It's refreshing. I'm a creative person. I don't thrive in those environments. This is good. I guess capitalism gives me the choice.
The thing to remember, the most important thing to remember is unlike communism, socialism, or statism of any sort, capitalism is not an ideology.
Yeah, I mean,
capitalism is not an ideology. Okay? Capitalism is the absence of ideology constricting people's free autonomous choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's that fucking simple. And if people don't get that, then I don't know what to tell you. Are there certain bad things that happen when people execute their liberty to engage in commerce with each other? Yeah, some bad things can happen in those circumstances. Sometimes people can get exploited. Are those instances things we ought to look at and remedy? Yes.
Absolutely.
Are they a consequence of capitalism? No, they're a consequence of people with low morals, bad morals.
Right.
The alternative to capitalism is always the same thing. Bang, bang! It's always the same thing. The alternative to capitalism is always violence. There's no disputing that. Every alternative to capitalism, you call it communism, socialism, social democracy, it's more government men with guns pointed at regular people over nothing.
I'm fucking feeling that tryptophan or whatever. I'm so tired.
Word.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the subject
like
of Thanksgiving. Thank you, Rachel, for that. Thanksgiving, our nation's first holiday. If you're like me, you love giving thanks on Thanksgiving. So what I want to tell you is this. Today, I give thanks for you, Jester's Court. Today, I find your wrongness a gift into my heart.
I'm thankful for you, Eric.
For
For
me?
you.
Thanks, Rachel.
And for the United States of America for having the choice to actually have a holiday to be grateful for.
Fuck yeah, America. I'm grateful for Winston's mom,
Me too.
who always has nice things to say and provides good conscience.
Yes, and is looking out for us.
I'm thankful for other Rachel, who
Me too.
taught this Rachel the important lesson of not jumping the gun too quickly.
Exactly. I was thinking the same line in my head.
I'm thankful for Hambone, the only moderator who ever actually does anything.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for Brittany's sobriety, and I genuinely am thankful.
Me
for that.
too. That is
You know?
big deal. Congrats to you.
Jester's Court is thankful for my entertainment and misleading lectures. My
Hey,
lectures are not
whatever.
misleading.
They're not whatever you. I mean,
If you think they misleading, then you just been misreading. Okay? Boom.
aw.
No, yeah, capitalism is not part of a system that prevents wars. Capitalism is what emerges when you successfully prevent war.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel's thankful for us too, Rachel.
Yo, I know.
It's a thankfulness circle
It
jerk.
really is.
April, Zayden Black.
So much thankfulness.
I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I am thankful for you.
You get a thankfulness. You get a thankfulness.
Okay, let's see here. Who else we got here? Sean, Ryan, Barron. I want you to look under your chair. It's my face and my mouth is moving. What am I saying? I'm thankful for you.
Yes! That's some fucking good FE right there.
Mm-hmm. Some high quality of it. Even for hug, you know what? Even you.
We
I got-
are.
I had something on my hand for you. It's a little miniature me and it's talking to you. What's it saying? I'm thankful for you. Even you.
Okay.
Mateus Sanchez. Let me
Yes.
put it this way. Yo es gracias para usted.
Nice.
That's right. I'm bringing it with a Mexican flavor for you, Matias Sanchez, because you sound like you've got a Spanish or Mexican name. You are wrong once again, Eric. Capitalist endeavors lead to wars. It's such nonsense. In what way did capitalist endeavor lead to, say, World War II? Is that what led to it?
One.
Or World War I? Or the Civil War, in fact? Civil War was about somebody trying to use coercion instead of capitalism, and the other side wanting capitalism.
True.
Why did you not test the TI of that ENFP you chatted with the other day? Because he didn't want to be typed. We were just having a conversation. It wasn't a typing session. And in fact, I asked him. I sort of generally motioned or wafted at the idea of typing him, and he's like, "I'm 150% sure I'm an ENFP."
Yeah.
I just didn't even think about it after that.
I mean, so I wanted to point out to him like yesterday too. I think Bendy Deluxe, right? That's him. I wanted to note that on his bed he has like stuffed animals who I think he probably actually sleeps with. I have such a problem sleeping with stuffed animals. Like it just like hugging them and cuddling, sure. Falling asleep, it feels like a burden. It's like
There's one exception. Goes by the name of Ducky, but that's because Ducky is as much pillow as it is stuffed animal.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, Ducky, but even Ducky.
it's a still animal.
Exactly. It's yeah, it really is. It's so squishy. But I cuddle with him.
And then you push him away when it's time to sleep.
Not even trying to.
This
I
is
wake up
Ducky.
in the morning and he's on the floor, and I'm so sorry.
Ducky, now
It makes
I
me
know.
So sad.
Now I understand why when I see you so often you're crying.
Stop.
It's because Rachel's
Don't
broken
you know how
your
thankful
heart.
I am for you?
Oh, quack, 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 quack.
I didn't eat
Why
you.
did you throw me
There's
on
no
the floor, quack,
turduckets in
quack?
this place. I just need a bigger bed.
We were gonna have. My dad suggested lobster for Thanksgiving, which is silly, but what we came up with eventually was the turduckster.
Yeah, I like that.
It's a lobster stuffed inside of a duck, stuffed inside of a turkey. I am not married to a very pretty redhead.
Who?
Oh, you're not talking about me? Free agency. At best, can you could say that exploitation is a common consequence, not inherent. The definition precludes non-consensuality. All right. Meow, meow, meow. You can't sleep with animals, pillows, or people. Don't you want your head higher than your body? Do you have a slanted bed? Is it on a tilt? Why not use inherent? What's the problem with that when it comes to genesis of capitalism coming from exploits? No, but that's not what capitalism comes from. What is the actual genesis of capitalism, quote unquote? It's the capacity to make leverage fungible. That's it. It's that simple. In a bartering time period, leverage was not fungible. It was semi-fungible. If you were bartering fish for corn, you're dealing with semi-fungibility. But if you're talking about help me build my barn, and then later I'll help you build your barn, well, that's a sort of leverage that needs to be rendered into fungible. And how do you render something into fungible? You have a scarce resource that's not counterfeitable, and it'll serve as money. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's scarce enough and it's non-counterfeitable, then it's adequate to serve as a currency. Be it even things that aren't real, like cryptocurrency. Why is cryptocurrency possible? Why can it actually attain quote unquote real value that's non-digital? Because there is no real value that's not digital, so to speak. All value is inherently metaphysical. All leverage is metaphysical.
Well said.
We convert it from the metaphysical to the physical. It's one of the only things in the world we do that with. Everything else we convert from the physical to the metaphysical. King Krishna Sarmapragu, you say I'm wrong, but I'm making perfect sense and you're not. And you're backpedaling here and there. Well, in the next breath saying I'm totally wrong. So no, stop trying to battle me and learn from me. You don't know anything about this. Oh, how adorable, Winston's mom. A girl hung herself in your barn.
What's up? What's going on?
Oh my God.
Where are we right now?
I love how spooky that
I
is.
think I'm finding out what the Indians felt. Nah.
You know what, King Krishna Sarmapragu, I got another bone to pick with you. Your kind of Indians did absolutely nothing at the first Thanksgiving.
This is true.
I was bitching about Native American Indians earlier. What do you mean I'm not reading what you're saying? I'm reading everything you're saying out loud. There is a historicity to it. What does that mean? And what impact does it have? What's the warrant? What claim are you making? What's your framework, for God's sake? I mean, you're obviously advocating against capitalism. You're trying to say that capitalism is inherently bad, that capitalism is to blame for the excesses of capitalism, that capitalism is to blame for the low character and moral failings of people, that capitalism can be treated as though it were an ideology, even though it definitely is not. So, King Krishna Sarmapragu, what are you saying? Make your argument. What's your framework here? Are you saying that capitalism is or is not an ideology? If it's not, what is it? Define it for me. I've defined it for you multiple times. You keep saying I'm wrong. You don't even have any fucking definition of anything. So stop trying to fight me and learn something. Brittany, you too. The only thing either of you could do here is learn from me about this, because you don't know anything about this thing that I'm talking about. And I'm an expert at it because I'm a professional at coming up with cases that make arguments about this very thing. For example, and variants of this very thing. For example, tonight I ran against my own kid in practice, or earlier this afternoon, I should say. I ran against my kid in practice, what's called an anthropocentrism K, which says implicit to capitalism is speciesism. That is to say, violence against living entities that are fundamentally equal to human beings, and there's no legitimacy for distinguishing between the value of say, a dolphin and a human being, and that moral obligations stem from this biological justice, you might call it, this equivalency between individuals of various species, okay? And it links into a capitalism critique. I ran this against my student. I made all the good arguments against capitalism because, of course, that's my job. So when I tell you even the best arguments lose for sure, the argument change when argued out, it's not because I have a horse in this race. It's because I'm being objective and I've done all the argumentation chains multiple times with many classes of debaters. I've won national championships. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And you, to put it very bluntly, know nothing. So stop arguing with me and learn something. What comprises the genesis of capitalism? Okay, so what's your distinction between mercantilism and capitalism? Is it the existence of incorporation, the legal fiction known as incorporation? Is that the distinction you're making? No, Delilah didn't make it. I forgot to even call her. Rachel remembered to text her. My dad called her yesterday, apparently. I just totally forgot about her until I'd already said what I'm grateful for, and then I was kind of like, oh, she said Delilah. That's the first time I thought about her. But see, she's an ESTP, I'm an ENTP. I'm sure she didn't think about me either.
No.
Just keep learning, fish, fish. I agree with you, Brittany. Just keep learning. So why would you state that exploitation is inherent in capitalism? If what you are actually meaning is capitalizing resources is implicit to capitalism, then say that. Exploitation, not all resources that are utilized in capitalism are exhausted, first of all, which exploitation implies that the resource is exhausted. Some resources are multiple use. Some resources I retain my entire life, like my labor. Or at least some, I might get like injured or something, I guess. Barefoot Ballerina says, I fit the ENFP descriptions, but I can do a tiny bit of genealogy. So not TI polar, then confused. Ben Vaseline says TI can be developed in ENFPs, but in your system not, or question mark? Not much. There's a range of possible skill at TI in an ENFP, ranging from absolute zero to extremely meh. Like somewhere in there, But some of them can do better than others by a little bit. Can you do other kind of TI problems, Barefoot Ballerina? If I were to ask you this, if Bobby and Sue go to the baseball game, then Joey will stay home by himself. And if Joey stays home by himself, then Mary will come over and get her mac on. But if either Joey or Sue doesn't go to the game, then that individual will stay home with Bobby, and Mary will not get her mac on. So what can we conclude if I tell you that, in fact, Sue does not go to the game? Can you tell me? Can you tell me? Can you tell me whether the Mac has gotten on? Were exports encouraged and imports discouraged? Okay, so what you're saying is that capitalism postdated tariffs? Are you insane?
I love it when people talk about tariffs.
But this is what Kristen Somerville is. Mercantilism, which according to her preceded capitalism, encouraged exports and imports were discouraged. How could that predate capitalism? Exporting and importing shit is a capitalist endeavor. I mean, come on, KKSP. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. I will say that the one big pill I find difficult to swallow in your system is the rigidity of your view of polar functions. My big pill is pretty rigid. It's true. Also, you have a pill swallowing phobia. Well, don't swallow my rigid big pill, please. Whatever you do. Rachel.
Yeah.
Can you put on some funeral dirge? I've got some terrible, terrible news. Anonymous Random Zero has the following thing to say. I don't think you're the master typer I once thought you were. Okay, fine. You think whatever you wish. I'm so disappointed to hear that your perceptions of me have diminished over time. I heard that Ugg has a sale on wheels down by his cave. We should use them to create a wheelbarrow. What am I wrong about? Can Chris and Simon Bergu? You're just talking out your ass. You're not saying what I'm actually wrong about. What causes inflation or deflation? Tariffs? Yeah. Okay. What is that? How does that dispute anything I'm saying? What are you fucking talking about? You have no. I oppose tariffs, KKSP. They get in the way of capitalism. That's an example of government pointing guns at people. I wonder if you could try just a little bit to use your brain. Ken Krishna Sarmapagu.
You got the song. You always want it.
I know you're not dumb. You're very angry though and young, and you want very badly for me to be wrong. You literally had a typing session with Rachel and typed her ENFJ, and then after living with her, you still thought she was an ENFJ, now she's an INFJ. No, I mean, after I lived with her, I still thought she was an INFJ. It took me a couple of weeks. I wanted to make sure if I was going to change her typing, that I was absolutely certain about it, and that I wasn't going to change again. So, I held off. I began having reservations of typing right away. I'm not perfect. I don't get everybody right in an hour. And I got Rachel wrong. Part of the reason is because, as I mentioned before, I'm very hesitant to push on the TI questions and really establish where the TI lands. And the reason is because people really don't like that unless they're very good at it, in which case I don't need to push on it because I can figure out right away, okay, this guy's dumb. He's even better than I am. Or whatever. There's a lot of factors that come into play that make me not perfect as a typist. If I had a long enough time and if I had a person who was willing to be pushed in various directions instead of a client and a finite amount of time, then I'd be closer to 100%. It would take too much time and effort to be exactly 100%. What matters is I'm substantially better than anybody else. Capitalism doesn't fledge in varying degrees. It's not an ideology. It doesn't have control of things. It's not an agent. It's not a plan. It's not a choice. It's what happens when choice is not infringed upon unjustly. Period. God. You just want to fight, but you're not actually, you keep shifting ground too. So look, KKSP, either your FI is highly engaged or you actually are an INFP, possibly. I always thought you were an INTP. But it's quite possible, though, your FI is engaged and it's letting you get TI sloppy at the moment. But you are just shifting ground. You are not acknowledging any of the things I've said that are right, that have proved what you said wrong. You're never like, okay, actually, Eric, you were right about that. Now you explain it to me. You're right, I'm wrong. You haven't done any of that. You want to keep saying, I'm wrong. I've already established your wrongness on several different distinct areas, and you've not conceded any of those points, even been objective about it, gone back and fairly said, okay, here's the argumentation that actually occurred. This is what it actually means. This is the actual outcome of it. This is skill number one. Everybody has to develop a debate. They have to be honest with themselves. That's called live stream. Octavio Silva, sup. Sup to you.
Sup?
And where's Slow State? Hello, Taylor. Are you here? Horse Mumbler, are you grazing somewhere close by? Horse Mumbler was offended by my Native American joke the other day in my live stream, maybe yesterday or whatever. But I would point out to Horse Mumbler, you can't just get offended when I joke about your special group, right? Because you don't get offended when I joke about other people's groups. So you can't really get offended when I joke about your special group. Anyway, groups are all bullshit. You're no more Native American than I am.
True.
I'm no more white than you are. Those things are made up fucking arbitrary group labels that don't mean anything. I'm gonna read Winston's mom's Thanksgiving joke, family-friendly Thanksgiving joke for
Cool.
everyone to enjoy.
Yay.
What does a one-legged turkey say?
What?
Wobble wobble.
Aww.
That
Wobble wobble
is
indeed.
so seasonally appropriate.
Yes.
Can you shed some light on the demonstrative function? I'm an LII, a logical intuitive introvert. That's INTP. And I think it's quite funny because I argue with my ESFJ aunt about what's a determinant and does that mean I don't use it on my own. You're telling your ESFJ aunt what's determinant for her. You don't want anybody else to tell you what's determinant for you, and you don't want to care about what's determinant for yourself because that's what it means to sixth law. You demonstrate it to the world. You expect to have to demonstrate it to the world. You don't really resent it that badly when you have to do it, although it is laborious. But it's something you feel competent at, if not particularly good at. Thing is, you hate using that function as a frame for yourself or even as a contention level argument for yourself. In other words, you'd hate to consider that any matter would be decided by the most singularly determinate course. In other words, getting rid of your tool function entirely, basically. Saying, okay, no more ideation now with my tool function. I'm going to settle on the singular determinate relevant factor and eliminate other ideational possibilities. That's not ever going to be valued for you when applying to yourself. It is valued for you when applying to the world because it gets things over in the world so you can get back to isolating in front of the computer. Yeah, you prioritize your second slot over your sixth slot in your own life. You provide sixth slot. You'd like to live in the external world with your second slot as well. But Brian Roger, let me just say that is never off topic. Brian Roger asks an amazingly amazing, greatly great question. He says, can you talk about how much Dave Matthews Band sucks and why? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. It's a great question.
Thankfulness right there.
I'm giving thanks to you, Brian Roger, dude, for your question. Thank you. Okay, here, let me tell you. Dave Matthews Band, there's water that comes out after you pooped all the poop out, you still have diarrhea. Okay? They're a cup full of that water, and listening to them is like splashing it onto your face. That's, I guess, the most objectively accurate description I can give. Now, why do they suck so bad? Good question. Primarily, it's their rejection of introverted intuition or any sort of resonance with anything that would stand a test of time longer than 30 seconds. I mean, talk about the most disposable fucking crap in history. Nobody is going to listen to any Dave Matthews song ever again 20 years from now. No. Never will it be listened to. The only people who could possibly conceive of it and be listening to it would be like ESTJs and ESFJs, maybe, because they got Polar and I. But even they'll just be on to the new Dave Matthews at the time, whatever that is. Dave Matthews will be lost in the anal mucus of history as soon as they stop performing. They're utter crap. Poisonous, toxic, deadly, ear garbage. Awfulness that does not deserve anybody's even the slightest bit of respect, even casual politeness. If I saw Dave Matthews in the street, I would be compelled to walk up to him and say, "Sir, you offend me."
Seriously. It's justified. It's very offensive.
John Mayer. What's that guy what's the one that I like that sings the song Somebody Stop This Train?
That's John Mayer.
Okay. I like John Mayer too. Or at least a couple of songs.
Yeah, same.
He's good. John Mayer's good because
Talented.
he utilizes NI resonance and FE sensibilities along with a little bit of extroverted intuition to make good songs that people like. Yeah, Stop the Train is amazing. It's
Yeah,
so,
so
fucking
yeah.
genius. Such a genius song.
I like Slow Dancing in a Burning Room.
Yeah.
He's great.
I'd like to fuck the shit out of John Mayer's pouty mouth. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? I could believe that. I could believe John Mayer's an ENFP. That makes
That's
some
why he's
sense.
not ever in a relationship too long.
I would also say, probably he has some filler. I don't know. I don't really listen
Oh
to
shit,
Shallow.
he has tons of filler.
Tons of filler.
Tons.
Okay. ENFP.
Tons.
ENFP.
Tons. I cannot listen to an album of his.
ENFPs have a few good songs, and then they got a bunch
Few
of
good
filler.
albums too. They have
Maybe
a couple
more,
good
right?
albums.
Yeah, but they don't get the NI
No.
the same way that ENTPs do.
Yeah.
They get stuck in their FITE shit.
Mhm.
Anyway, but yeah, he's good.
Yes.
In contrast,
Yes.
Dave Matthews is absolutely has no value or merit musically or aesthetically at all. Why? Well, he's all NE. He's probably an ESTJ. Okay, I would guess
Who,
Dave Matthews
Yeah,
is an
he is.
ESTJ.
He is.
And so he has there's zero artistic value
Mhm.
to it. It's completely disposable. It's all extroverted intuition, aimless extroverted intuition,
Yeah.
and musicianship. An
Actually-
arbitrary, useless, pointless, stupid, fucking horrible musicianship.
Yeah, so that one album that he's known for, like with that song, Crash Into Me. So he has great musicians around him, and that's what makes the music so good. It's not really him. So he had a music member.
The problem isn't the musician. Look, yes,
No,
they
that's what
play
I'm
well.
saying.
They play well.
I'm saying it's not him.
I know. No,
It's
the,
everyone else around
it's
him.
the concept. It's the aesthetic concept. The problem with it is not that it's NE, Fenty Deluxe.
No.
It's that it's fundamentally NE third slot with NI polar. And NE Dom has NI fifth slot. So ENFPs and ENTPs both can hit home runs. Dave Matthews cannot leave the infield. He
No.
is lucky to leg out a bunt single if the catcher falls down while throwing to first baseman.
I think that's fine.
So he has no staying power in history.
No.
Nobody will ever listen to him once he stops performing and they stop promoting him and shit. He'll immediately fade into dust because it's completely disposable, absolutely worthless crap. It makes me want to gouge my fucking ears out and my eyes and my noses.
Yeah. It really is that bad. It is though.
Fenty Deluxe, that's why ENFPs aren't quite as good as ENTPs. Although they can get quite close. I mean, they can nail it. Like John Mayer, like Somebody Stop This Train is epic genius. But that's how it is with art, right? Like one piece can be
True.
epic genius and each piece has to be evaluated on its own merits. ENTPs will be a little bit more hitty and a little less missy than ENFPs in general.
Yeah.
But the reason is because you asked that question and ENTPs don't.
Yep. It's true. I have to say.
Because for you, NI has to compete with FI.
I have a lot of I know a lot of NFP artists, ENFP specifically, and it's a lot of hits, like snappy stuff. The other stuff is not anything anyone listens to.
Eminem's an ENTP 100 million% for sure. I don't know who Rod McEwen is. Any
Christopher Walken?
look, what's necessary for successful music is what you might call an SE component. That is to say, shit locked in place. Okay, shit locked into the groove. Needs to have that SE component, especially if you're playing live with the group or something.
Yeah.
It needs to have the NE component. Ideationally, it needs to have enough novelty and surprising things for it to keep the listener's interest. And it needs to be grounded in a foundation of NI, which is to say it has to be fundamentally resonant and true as something that's recognizable, but not specifically so. In other words, it sounds like something you've heard before, but not anything specific you've heard before. I don't know who Eddie Izzard is. ENFJs do not make perfect music.
No,
No, they don't have enough extroverted intuition.
they're pretty good.
But I mean, like INFJs, ENFJs, ENTPs,
Mm,
INTPs, those are your top 4 aesthetics types.
yeah.
For sure, those 4 have the best taste. Those are the only 4
Yeah.
types that probably get it mostly right most of the time.
Yeah. It's true.
ESTPs are great drummers. I had an ESTP drummer.
Mm-hmm.
He was great.
Do you think that what's his name? Keith Moon from The Who was, I think what? Could you been
I don't know who's
ESTP?
Keith Moon. Who's Keith Moon?
Keith Moon is in The Who. He's
What did he play?
drums, and he was a maniac. He
Oh, I
was
don't
known
know.
for not having any sort of routine with rhythm. He was just like, blah, 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 and it was like,
I don't know anything about Keith Moon.
yeah, I was thinking, yeah, see, with Sauce, I was thinking the same thing. That either ESFP or ESTP. He could be ESFP, though.
Hella
Yeah,
drugs. Rapper with a Ghost Rider? What the fuck
Yeah.
happened?
Sometimes ESFPs, so ESFPs rap with, they have ghostwriters. ESFPs have ghostwriters, but yeah, like Katy Perry has a ghostwriter, definitely. I saw her interviewed and she's great.
I don't have a Ghost Rider.
ESFJs have ghost singers.
I wouldn't mind having a Ghost Rider ghost singers.
They do.
Ghost sing. I mean, doesn't he? Ghost. Why?
Right?
Ghost singer.
Yeah.
And what are you doing?
Right?
Just mouthing the words?
Mm-hmm. That's why they don't really perform live, and if they do perform live, it will be a backup track.
Ghost singers. Can you take over for a
Yeah.
little bit and show people your picture?
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm working on this art project right now.
Rachel and I are making a deck of our own cards that are not tarot cards. That's already somebody else made tarot cards already. We're making special something like that, like their sparrow cards or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're badass.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be way better than tarot.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Quiet little purple horse things. Yeah, they all look pretty. Hey, this channel again. What's up, David Sanderson? You seem new to me. What's up?
What am I looking for? Oh, wait.
There's
Here, show the people the different pictures.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
showing.
So hold a picture up again, like your style is cute and your choice color. Thank you. So this is what I was just currently working on. And then cool. It's good to see you, David. This is Eric's. Do you want me to say the name of it too? Or just the picture? Picture?
Just a picture.
Picture.
I'm
This
not
is-
sure if we're settled on the names yet.
Cool. And I think he knows me too. This is something that I made. Thank you. Eric made this today. I like that you did a horizontal.
Oh, dude, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Can you ask the people what they think what word might be on the back of that one?
Yeah. Okay, so Eric,
You can have them guess for the other ones too if you wanted to.
I think this is a great one to ask. This is, yeah, I like it. I mean, they can for the other ones too.
No, go for it. Go with it.
So what do you, I want to see, like, we're playing, what is that, Pictionary? Something like that?
What word does that picture represent?
Yeah, what word does this picture represent? I want to see what you guys say in the live chat. What you think. Yeah, it does, Miriam. What word is associated with this picture? Grindstone. Knitting. Okay. Close. I can't even say that word. Obsequious.
Obsequious?
What does that mean?
That means like being obsequious is like, oh, you're so great, you're so important. Something like that.
Okay, that's a good madness. This is a good he's sick of running out of time. Okay. Cowboy, sure. He's a happy cowboy.
Obsequious. You want to show on the back?
Yeah.
The answer is patience. Patience.
That's so funny. Isn't it beautiful though? It's I love like the colors that you used.
Those are her various thoughts and emotions that she's folding in her lap. That's what that is. Basically what that is how I fixed messed up hands that were originally messed up. But my answer is those are it's a lady, first of all. Those are her thoughts and emotions that she's folding up to put away. Hi, Bruce Moose. Oh, hey, Bruce Moose.
Hey, what's up?
I was going to ask you if you might be willing to put down some drums for Gabi Weatherman, which I'm planning to record. I don't have any studio version of it. I was going to go look for drums on the internet later tonight, but, you know, it would probably be the same pace of the version of it that Spacey and I play at the bridge of Bailey Canyon. Let me find that link. I don't know if you're available or interested or willing or whatever, but if you're not, that's totally understandable. But if you're feeling it, then I would love
that would be great.
Collaborate with you again. You're by far the most successful collaboration I've ever had by the internet. By far. The only, probably, I guess I should say. And I've tried plenty of times. Well, not the only. No, not the only successful one, but by far the most successful one. What am I looking for? Oh, right. Where's the typing machine?
There it is. There it is.
AGAVE. Okay. I'm putting the link. Bruce Moose may have already said no, dude. Thanks, Bruce Moose.
This is one of the other cards.
So
here, I'll move.
There's the link to the one on the. You can scoot over a little bit. Move.
Okay, let's see. I'm just gonna take a little.
Take a little scoot. Take a little scoot. Take a little. Take a little. Take a little scoot. Now, obviously, I'm not going to use that those vocals and guitar or anything for the song, but that's the speed. So I'll tap tempo it and figure out the tempo from that. That's the arrangement as well. What's the last book I read? It's been a while since I read a book. I mean, I used to read shit tons of books when I was younger. Like mostly the kind of books my dad still reads, which is like this L.E. Modisette book. I read a bunch of books by L.E. Modisette myself. What's Spacey doing? I don't know. I haven't talked to him. He told me to send back his headphones. I'm still looking at them right here. I'll send them back, but you know, I'm not in any huge hurry. What are you most interested in other than cognitive functions? Rachel Lapalosa. I'm more interested in Rachel Lapalosa than cognitive functions. I glove you with my heart.
I glove you gloves.
The dampness of my fingers is constantly moistening the dew of my moisture. One thing I like to tell Rachel is that her beauty is constantly re-astonishing me again for the first time forever.
It makes me melt.
It's agreeably confusing. When I get that loving feeling,
It's the best.
there's a tender dampness of a dew. David Sanderson said okay. We've got the okay from David Sanderson. I was worried he was going to give us
Same.
the old thumbs down.
I'm thankful for that.
We got a B on the health report. Fenty Deluxe, you want sexual healing? You should call that new lady friend of yours up. Say, hey there, Lydia. It's me, Fenty Deluxe. You want to come over and get backed on?
Yeah, you could be like, it's Thanksgiving in America and they're eating turkey. You want to see mine?
Don't be afraid to eat the giblets, baby.
Aw.
I'm going to get you
Aw.
tired on penal tryptophan. How do you guys pronounce Leone?
Leone.
Leone. Touche. Don't be using any French words around your Fenty Deluxe. More like rect, R-E-K-T. I don't think you spelled that correctly, David Sanderson. Pretty sure it's W-R-E-C-K-E-D. Pretty sure. Pourquoi?
Ooh.
That's not okay. You might as well ask me, Kel Teal. The answer is 10 till 6, you goddamn Frenchman. Spelt is not the past participle of spell, David Sanderson. It's spell, spelled, spelled. Okay? God. It's like saying squozen. How many grapefruit have you squozen? I had squozen 4 until I blound myself with a squirting of juice, whereupon I ceased to squeeze. Do you have a dictionary I can read? No. Do you have a pile of money I can have? Say like $1 million, please.
Please.
Can
That makes it okay.
Can you PayPal me?
We also have Venmo and Cash App if you don't have PayPal.
Hey, Eric, which famous songs do you keep playing on the guitar? Oh, I play Row, Row, Row Your Boat. I can play Mary Had More Than a Little Lamb. I could play She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain When She Comes. All your classics.
Oh, I want to hear that.
I actually don't know how to play any of those songs.
Ah. Do you know any?
Yeah, sure. I know some covers.
These I want to play.
I don't usually play covers. I usually have to look at the chords to refresh my memory. Anyway.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know. Oh, yeah, that's right.
I got 4 slot SI. I don't love playing covers necessarily, except for some of them. There are a few covers I like to play, but even those ones, I don't play them often enough that I can remember them. So I got to look up the chords. What did I do with the MOUSE?
Sing what you want.
Let's see here. How about I look up this song? Meow, 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 meow. All right. out in my icebox. Somebody's cold one is giving me chills. Guess I'll just close my eyes. Oh yeah. This isn't the right way to play this song. It's in B minor. These fucking tab things, I tell you.
Inside.
Let's look at the version 2. C sharp minor? Yeah, this is where it's played.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah, that's where you play it, up
Yeah.
there.
Giving me chills. What do you say?
Alright, here we go. Somebody's honey is crowning my icebox. Somebody's cold one is giving me chills. Guess I'll just close my eyes. Oh yeah. Alright. Feels good inside. Flip on the telly, wrestle with Jimmy. Something is bubbling behind my back. We got it. Scroll down. Bottle ready to go. Say it's our your drug is a heartbreaker. Say it's our your love is a life taker. I can't confront you. I never could do that which might hurt you. Try and be cool. When I say here's a water slide away from me to chase a bullet every day. Be cool. Say it ain't so. Your drug is a heartbreaker. Say it ain't so. Your love is a life taker. Dear Daddy, I write you in spite of years of silence. You cleaned up, found Jesus. Things are good. Oh, so I hear this bottle of Stevens awakens ancient feelings like father, stepfather. When he's drowning in the blood. Yeah, yeah. Say it ain't so. Your drug is a heartbreaker. Say it ain't so. Your love is a life taker. Tiring song to play. Yay!
Nicely done.
Let's see. What am I gonna play next? I'm gonna play another song. I won't play a million songs. I'll play maybe 2 more, something like that. I want to play this because I'm gonna record it soon.
Yay.
Can you, Rachel, be in charge of
Scrolling?
scrolling?
Yeah.
I'm gonna play it a little slower than I normally would because it's been a while since I played it. You're living on a time frame I will never know. Alienation and humanity's soul. Imagine you a future after the collapse, returning to the urgency of isolated past. Picturing community free of metaphysics, hunting buffalo while you're picking red delicious. Knowledge of the seasons, wisdoms of old. Fires blazing in the night to keep away the cold. Hostility is kept at bay by what you think is in the way. What you think is in the way of life as children of the land. With an agave weatherman. Imagining a history that never could have been. You lecture at the college, advancement is a sin. Lamenting disconnection in every corporate act. Asserting all your feelings and ignoring all the facts. Hostility is kept at bay. I need to go back up to the chorus. Sorry.
That's okay.
Right there. Hostility is kept at bay. Hostility is kept at bay by what you think is in the way of life as children of the land. With an agave weatherman. You find modernity just so banal. Wish you had been born any time but now. And your experience won't run afoul of exceptions that you might allow. You visualize nobility sipping on some port, and tribes of peaceful savages in beautiful comport. But few of history's people ever thusly did cavort. Yeah, life is solitary, nasty, brutish, poor and short. Hostility is kept at bay by what you think is in the way of life as children of the land. With an agave weatherman. With an agave weatherman. That was fairly sloppy, but good job, Rachel. It sounded good.
That did sound
You
good.
should,
I'm thankful that you sang that.
You should feel comfortable belting out those background vocals.
Cool.
You're
Yeah,
singing them right on point.
yeah.
It sounds good.
Cool. Awesome.
What else do I have here in this thing? Oh yeah. Okay. Can you scroll down here, and then when you get down to here, you have to go back up to the top.
Okay.
Okay. Actually,
So
we
it's
can.
the bottom of that first column.
Yeah. Let me
Okay.
see if it fits. All right, it fits actually.
Cool.
Sammy is a story that need be told. This is a song for the open road, and such a thing must always do its job. Meredith Jeb turned 19, 4 kids and 3 kids weaned, weary now and questioning the path. Agency out, faces discretion, locking in our courses, way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression, making sure those underneath them always run. Doug at 25 bourbon fun, likewise Doug at 21, and so forth well up into middle age. What once had seemed to set him free became his whole identity. Now Doug's about another drunken rage. Agency out, faces discretion, locking in our courses, way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression. They'll offer you incentives, but they haven't got a thing that's fun. Everybody's been got the kids. Knock him up with extra dexedrine. Wow, wow, mathematics to produce success. Or impose more unjust duress. Agency outpaces discretion. Locked in a passage, way too young. Significance is really just projection. They'll offer you incentive, but they haven't got a thing that's fun. Everybody's gonna cop the kids.
Whoa,
Lock them up with extra dexedrine.
whoa.
Mathematics to produce success, or impose more unjust duress. Agency outpace discretion, locking in our courses way too young. The urgency convert is really just oppression, making sure those underneath them always run. Without consent, it's really just oppression. By parasites surviving on their wages earned by lying, while they feed the fear of dying. Yeah, they feed upon the futures of the young. Well,
Should I
you
call
know,
rocking out?
yeah, that's it for my playing the guitar. I'm a little out of practice.
My voice tenders are clapping for you.
Thank you,
That's
darling.
such a nice. Well, yes.
Thank you
They
very
are
much.
too. Mine are as well. You sing that so good.
Yeah, that was an original James
Yeah?
Moran. Yeah, sure, I'll play Satchel Helpful Goods. Here's an original by request for Rudeness.
Yeah, that sounds like such a Thanksgiving song.
Every life lived reaches a time when the road splits in two. There are times, dark times, times of despair, times when it's hard to feel good. That's when I look for my sack full of solvency and that satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Every life lived reaches an end when the road disappears. When I'm there, will there be anybody else around? Will I travel all alone? That's when I look for my sack full of solvency and that satchel filled up with home, and that satchel of nothing but bone. Satchel of helpful goods. 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 Satchel of helpful goods.
Golf clap.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That song I am more of a practice than most of my songs. I played that a lot. And another request for Noise in the Data Stream.
Yeah.
That's called. You want to get up? Yeah, sure.
I think I burnt my tongue on something hot before, and now it's like feels numb.
Put my tongue into my heart
I
before.
kicked so much stuff over.
You sure are. You're knocking all kinds of shit over, girl. You're the
I'm not
knock.
interrupting the data stream.
You're the knockover queen. How do I live stream this thing? I mean, how do I make this not full screen again? Full screen anymore. Press escape to show controls. I did press escape and it didn't work. Okay.
My snack.
Am I your satchel of helpful goods? Thank you, Rachel. I
I
appreciate it.
love snatch.
Throwing shade.
Hell yeah.
That's what it's called. Shit, I don't have the chords for this. Oh, I remember. Much noise in the dead stream. Loud enough to disrupt everybody's dreams. Frustrations me takes a man until it seems everybody's just throwing shade. I won't be just another casualty of other people's well-intentioned rules. I used to think that tomorrow there'd be time for yesterday. It's not the sort of thing that one can borrow. No one will tell you in the day. Your uncertainty's implicit, just like an unexpected visit from a bunch of men all dressed in blue suits. I won't be just another casualty of other people's well-intentioned rules. I used to think that tomorrow there'd be time for yesterday. See, this is the thing about being an ENTP and having 4-slot SI. And this one, I didn't have the chords written down, right? I didn't have the fucking chords written down. I can't remember how to play my own songs. I only know how to play maybe 1/50th of my songs, which is kind of ridiculous.
That's hysterical.
And even those, I had to look it up.
That's so funny.
You know, it's like I want to perform live, but it takes so much effort to prepare to perform live.
Yeah.
I can't play Dancing Party Dance. That one I cannot play.
Oh. Well, we'll do the video. I want to do the video.
For sure, I cannot play Dancing Party Dance.
Yeah.
What I can play for you is this thing I'm working on right now, which is just a beat at the moment.
Excuse me.
It's a fun beat to freestyle over, I'm sure. I haven't actually done it yet, but I don't imagine it wouldn't be not fun. Or would be not, wouldn't not be. Where's the remote control for the television? I seem
I
to
think
have
that's
lost
something
it
when I
again.
knocked over. Probably.
Please, everybody, rap along at home.
Yeah.
You guys could freestyle rap in the chat too.
Yeah.
How's about Thanksgiving song? Something with a turkey, wobble wobbling, cranberry sauce, and a piece of pie. Look it up, guys at the party dancing. He's got a video. I'm still sleeping. Do you just dance on the weed, Eric? No, I just dance on your PIAG last. No, I don't dance on the PIAG last. I just dance on your PIAG last. The road to hell is paved with good intention. Yes, it is. The road to hell is paved with bad intentions, too, Sid. This beat is very cool. Now add another beat and play one. In your right ear and your left ear. You'll have binaural beats, Eric. Binaural beats. Everybody dance upon my feet, dancing, dancing on my feet. Everybody dance upon my feet. You dance up and I'll dance down. We'll dance round and round. Everybody dancing on my feet. Bring me a plate of peas. I love some peas. Bring me a plate of peas. And carrots, cheese. Bring me a plate of peas. And some carrots, cheese. Bring me a plate of peas. And some pork chops. You know what I like? I like that story of the princess who can't sleep if you have a pea under her pillow. What an SI fussy bus she is.
True.
Talk about some overactive SI. Ferrets, ferrets, infesting Winston's mom's house and lawns, shred and whatnot. Ferrets everywhere like Serenity Vashtar. What are you hearing in that lock touch? I believe it's guinea pigs. I'll have them all cleared away. Has everybody here read Serenity Vashtar? It's a great story about ferrets. Winston's mom.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking of Winston's mom. You were reading it. I'm like, wow.
If you ain't never read Serenity Vashtar, you should totally read Serenity Vashtar. It's a good story. If you ain't never read Serenity Vashtar, you should read Serenity Vashtar. You should totally read Serenity Vashtar because it's a good story. If you ain't never read Serenity Vashtar, you should read Serenity Vashtar. You should totally read Serenity Vashtar because it's totally a good story. If you never read Serenity Vashtar, why aren't you reading Serenity Vashtar? Why are you listening to this live stream? You should be reading Serenity Vashtar right now. Like right now. Okay? I'm going to get you a link so you can go read Serenity Vashtar. I'm going to get you a link so you can go read Serenity Vashtar. Here's a link. Read Serenity Vashtar. Here's a link. Read Serenity Vashtar. Here's a link. Read Serenity Vashtar. Read Serenity Vashtar. Read Serenity Vashtar. Okay, that's enough of that beat. I got another beat that I'm going to play for you guys that I'm working on as well. It's called, that one beat was called Miaz. This beat is called Bum Bum Bum. Bum 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 is the title of this beat. Let's see how it sounds. Meow. Play bass, sleep. Run, walk, deep. Play, blast, sleep. And blast and play and sleep. That looks great. This is when you're looking for that pesky guinea pig that's gotten away. Looking for all the hedges like this.
Oh no!
I'm adding background music, doing live streams. That way all the words I have are super cool screens. Here comes Freddie Chandran and Can Krishna. Sharma Prabhu. Who was wrong about capitalism? Chris Chapman, all I have is this one acoustic guitar. I affect it to make it sound like different things. And then I get samples of drums sometimes. Or like sometimes I'll just make the drum out of hitting something here, you know? Like that other one was made out of shit I just hit around here. I don't know. This is shit that I don't even know if it's going to go anywhere, right? It's like these things are just playing around. When it occurred to me that I hadn't ever recorded a studio version of Agave Weatherman, I was happy about that because I realized, okay, I can actually record something that's a serious project that's not just tracking. Like tracking like that is fun, and I can make some good stuff that way. Thank you, Chris Chapman. I appreciate it a lot. That's on the verge of becoming something. Play Whisper Shout. Okay. Well, I can't play it on the guitar. I can play it on YouTube. It's the only way I can play it. It is a good song. If you type Whisper Shout into YouTube, it's the second result. That's kind of nice.
I've just been sad. I gave up long ago.
For those who wish the link,
Was sometimes mad, but bad was all I'd ever
Dang,
know.
Christian Stormfield, are you still
Since
here? I thought I was talking
all
shit behind your
I
back. Come
I'd
on.
only mope and pout on.
Remember,
Till I
thank
met
you,
a
Christian
man named
Stormfield. I want you to
Ken
remember
who
this is
showed
really
me how
important,
to
okay?
whisper shout.
I'm rich. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. All right? I'm the greatest. I'm the best.
I'm rich.
That's what you forgot
I'm the best.
when you were calculating things.
I'm the
Thank you, Christian
greatest.
Stormfield, to do.
I'm the greatest. I'm the best. I've just been sad. I gave up long ago. Was sometimes mad, but bad was all I'd ever know. Since sad was all I'd been, I'd only mope and pout. Till I met a man named Ken who showed me how to whisper shout. I'm rich. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. I'm the best. I'm rich. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. I'm the best. I'm rich. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. I'm the best. I'm rich. I've just been sad. I gave up long ago. I'm the greatest. Was sometimes mad, but bad was all I'd ever know. I'm the greatest. Since sad was all I did, I'd only mope and pout. I'm the best. Till I met a man named Ken who showed me how to whisper shout. I'm rich. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. I'm the best. I'm rich. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest.
Yeah, it's like a bullet. Yeah.
I just like the way that the jingles overpowered everything I tried to do that time.
Oh, let's do that.
So I took off. Too many jingles. All right, I guess let's end this live stream. We forgot how to. Oh, the song's over. Oh, that's right. My live stream. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese. Probably not the most focused live stream ever, but hopefully somewhat entertaining. Good night,
Good
sweetheart,
night.
because it's time to go.